I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. You guys are coming? So do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
A motion? For a second.
Second.
Second by Josh. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment? Thank you. Consent items. We have a motion to approve the consent items.
So move.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving right along. Discussion, summer school possibilities.
We're going to have to post for positions. We will have, as we have every year, the extended school year, which is the special ed summer school on site. We have also typically had summer school run through Summit Learning Center for those students that do not qualify for, and as far as having IEPs. We're also looking at possibly doing targeted services as far as a summer school opportunity for K through 8, or maybe 3 through 8. We're looking at that possibility. So this is just a heads up in case we post for those positions. We won't post unless we know we've got a funding source to fund those positions, but we've got some kiddos that probably would benefit from having the targeted services in the summer. The other thing is, I talked to the State Department about MNVA. There is statute that says that online schools cannot provide summer school. And I kept asking, and I kept doing the what abouts, the what ifs, and the how comes. And I did find that we can do extended school year, summer school for those students on IEPs. And that is something that they definitely need this year. So once again, I'm going to verify that we have the funding source for that. But then when I didn't want you to be blindsided by a hiring memo for a summer school teacher at MNVA when you're saying, hold on a second, I didn't think we could do summer school at MNVA. We can do the extended school year. We are looking at possibly running targeted services and a summer school for the general ed population too. But right now there's just paperwork and red tape. We could run it through Hiawatha Valley Ed District. One person thought, one other person at MDE said no, and another person at MDE said he'd have to ask somebody else. So I got a yes, a no, and a maybe. So that leaves us in a little bit of gray area. So I'm not sure about that yet. I do know for this summer we will, since we have been given the green light, we will do the extended school year for the kids on IEPs.
So, okay. Any questions?
And if you had any, I'm not sure I could answer them because MDE couldn't either.
No, it's okay. On-site teachers, computers?
I got an email from Joe Rusky. Some of the teachers' computers are starting to die. In some cases, slow deaths. In other cases, glorious, just absolute implosions. We bought the teachers' computers. We did, for the majority of teachers, we did desktop iMacs. We bought those the summer of 2014. We bought them on a lease because the board felt it was easier to budget at $11,000 a year than to pay $40,000. So the lease actually did cost a little more over the 4-year time that the lease was there. The auditor was, every year the auditor came in, the auditor was mad we did the lease because he said it costs more, and it's
Yeah, but I think
ridiculous.
the lease, when we did the lease, part of it was maintenance on it, wasn't there? Updates and all that other stuff went with it. So
Well-
we kinda looked at the
Well, and it was the
overall package.
insurance policy, and
I
actually,
mean, there was
we,
other things that were involved, so. I mean,
we
I think
could
it's
have,
more
if
than
we
just
would
a-
have, if we would have bought outright and bought the insurance policy outright, we would have saved money and still had the same thing for 4 years.
I mean, how much would have been difference? I mean,
I
I thought we
think-
looked at all the numbers
Yeah,
back then.
it was
so
about
we're not-
2,000.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like we discussed it.
We did, the auditor was just not happy that we
Yeah.
did it that way. So I'm just, it is a board decision, it's board prerogative how you wanna do it. But it's one of those, I want you to know what the auditor said, but once again, you can weigh your options. The District Technology Advisory Committee will need to discuss this and look at the best option. But I want you to know that when that recommendation comes from the District Tech Advisory Committee, they've looked at all the other options. Cause I would really like our committees here to be functioning as legitimate committees. So when the committee comes up with a recommendation, I don't want it to be a chance for the board to then start from ground zero again and do all the research. Okay.
No.
But
Gene, you have
we're
something?
going to have to do this spring, because we have to make a decision so we can order the computers and get them here by July, so that we can set them up and go.
So
Yes,
if we purchase outright, we will still have dependable solution to service them where, I mean, when you lease them, you always do usually have a contract if something goes wrong.
right,
But as long as we have dependable solution purchasing outright, we would still have the availability to get them serviced and fixed.
Well, you're
right.
on that committee, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
I'm sure you guys
absolutely.
will.
And with dependable,
Yeah.
Joe did give us 3 options. Those will be going to the District Tech Advisory Committee. We'll be asking the teachers as well. One thing, and I know this about myself, because Dependable would really like me to go on a PC instead of my Mac. And people don't like change, and I am a person. So my Mac is dying, and I am holding on to that puppy like, you know, my life depends on it, because I love my Mac. So.
Change,
we'll-
change.
Yes, we'll have to weigh that when we ask the teachers what they want, because I know
Well,
most of them
again-
will say, I want a Mac, just because they know where things are, how to use it, and change is hard.
Well, you guys can bring that up in your meeting. What works best with the school? Not necessarily.
Almost everything is
But most of
web-based.
the elementary one wants Mac.
Almost everything we do now is now web-based, which means,
But isn't one of the two more designed for education? I always was taught that the Mac was more user-friendly for education than.
Used to be.
Is that not true?
not anymore, because now that almost everything is web-based, our Chromebook can zip to everything that the,
Problem with Mac, you have to pay that extra money for any, because they own everything. So it ended up costing more, but whatever, you guys, bring it up, discuss it. I'm sure you'll have 100 questions, so,
yeah. But I just wanted to let you know
Amy's on
that
there too, so.
yeah, I'm sure between the two of you,
we,
hopefully by spring we'll have something.
well, this will have to be bubbling pretty darn fast.
Have you
So,
guys set a date yet for a meeting?
I think it's beginning of April.
I seen something in
Yep.
notes somewhere.
She's
so-
doing a survey now, or getting a
Right.
survey out. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on that? Old business? Program reductions?
The one program reduction, we did have, as you saw, we hired Kyle tonight, so we did get a full team of boys for golf. In in June, when all the seasons are done, and we can talk about things in a global sense, as far as sports staffing with coaches. I think we probably need to come up with what is a viable team, and do some number crunching as far as And so then we're not saying we're picking on a person or we're picking on one sport. We're just saying these are the rules for all sports. So it's just, and we'll have the thing with, their speech is in there too. And that's a level 1 MSHSL activity. And this year we ended up with 3 people on the team. We want them to participate, but what constitutes a team in speech? A team in speech, you can have 1, but is that, it's one of those things where it's going to be one of those tough conversations, but you're on the board and you kind of signed up for tough conversations. So the one thing that with Summit Learning Center, we need to reduce 1 teacher at Summit Learning Center. And so that requires board action to reduce that to 1 teacher and 1 para.
Is that gonna be enough to cover? Are we limiting then the amount of people we can take in that program?
For what we have this year, budget-wise, 1 teacher, 1 para would actually cover it. Because our numbers are we have a lot of seniors and our numbers are dwindling. So yeah, that we've looked at.
Well, isn't Winona or
ALC.
aren't they setting up one?
Yeah.
Their HVAC or something?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and then the other thing, with Houston Elementary School, the reduction of 0.5 teacher, we have testing this year has been a pain point. We have a district testing coordinator that is now I think it worked out to be a point, I think it's 0.45 testing, and then he's 0.55 teaching because he teaches media at the elementary school. However, we have counselors that are spending some of their time administering ACT tests and ASVAB tests, and if we had the testing coordinator actually take those tests off so that the counselor could spend the time counseling, that would help. Same thing is true online. We've got counselors taking off a couple of days to do ACT testing. With the counseling needs we have, I don't think that's a wise use of that counselor's expertise. So I would like to bump up the district or assessment coordinator and expand that job so that the logistics with online testing has gotten to be more, the logistics with on-site testing has gotten to be more.
So they would take over the counselor position, so the counselor would no longer do
Testing,
that part,
right.
which they shouldn't be anyway, that's according to Minnesota.
Right,
I mean, they say don't, because they're one of your highest paid people, right?
Right.
You know, you're paying them a ton and you're having them do something that I could do.
they're sitting in a room handing out paper
Yeah.
and reading a script and timing how much time a kid is, yeah, they're sitting there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
ACT
so-
administration takes 3.5 hours
No,
for the
it's-
test administration, and it's a half an hour setup and about an hour and a half cleanup. And
Well, I think it would be a
we've got-
savings, so,
We've got 3 counselors
yeah. I think
doing that, so I would,
So what you're saying is you're eliminating a half position in elementary, but that half position would become the testing coordinator.
well,
Or fill
we
up
don't
rest
need the
of
whole 0.5, but, so there, with the 7th grade class coming in, we do have, it would still be a full position, but it would be a little more test coordinator, and then something, with the 7th grade, so that I don't wanna see 30 7th graders with power tools in the industrial tech room at one time.
Okay.
So, I don't need any reduction there, I just want you to know kind of what we're looking as for best staffing, so the only reduction necessary is the one FTE teacher at Summit Learning Center.
Right, but this is about what we talked about last time. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, nothing additional.
Right, okay. Any other questions on that? So policies for second
Well,
reading?
no, that takes action.
Oh,
I move that we go for the summit then to one teacher and one para.
Okay.
I'll second it.
okay. Got a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Policies for second reading. Do we have a motion to approve the policies? Policy 708, 709, 710, and 714.
Is that fund balance is where we want it to be at to 5%?
The finance looked at that, and actually we are over 9 right now, and even after the remodel, we'll still be over 8.
Okay.
So, and I'm hoping that we can have that a little bit this year too.
Okay, I move to approve the policies.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay, new business. We don't have any, huh? Announcements, supporting events.
Oh, tonight is the ramp up to readiness night, and it's really looking at what classes kids want to take. Todd has done a nice job of asking kids what classes they want to take, and there are some areas that have come up as once again, personal fitness and advanced phy ed. It's just we don't have the staff to do it, so we're trying to get creative about, because that's something that the kids really want, like a fitness nutrition class or a cooking class. And we don't have the kitchen,
Is
so
there still 6 class pay in the
Yes.
contract?
you bet.
Is that a possibility?
Our phy ed health teacher is already on 6 class pay. And so there is no, he's already full, you can't do 7 classes. You have to have a prep. So we've got some other options that we're looking at. And so it's just putting pencil to paper and seeing what other options are out there.
Somebody else could qualify if they had any background in that area where a variance would be allowed.
Right, and or we've got a DAPE teacher, and Hiawatha Valley Ed hired her away, and then we buy part of her time. So if that arrangement changes where she becomes ours again, then we have some time to fill too. So we're trying to spin the Rubik's Cube
Yeah,
to
the
make sure
difficult thing
that.
is you're playing across from something else. So then we don't wanna do it to the degree where we shorten numbers in another area that is pretty critical, so.
And the other thing, right now legislatively, it looks like it's got definite legs for personal finance to be added to the graduation requirements for the state of Minnesota. Granted, it would be added, if it's added now, it would only be in effect for this year's 8th graders and beyond. So we would have 2 years before we need to really make sure that that is in place, but it looks like that
Very class.
it's a very good class, and I know that our business teacher is very excited about that legislation going through, because he thinks it would be a good thing.
Yep. Okay, anything else? Okay, meetings, committee updates. We had a negotiation committee meeting today, just kind of starting the groundwork, discussion.
Strategy,
Nothing,
yeah,
strategies and
things that we
ideas.
know we need to,
Finance committee came up with some ideas. They looked at some of the numbers. We don't know what's gonna happen with the state, so we're not gonna make any major decisions.
Another
we
month.
meet with them, huh?
Another month.
Yeah,
We're waiting.
yeah, we're waiting to see, and who knows if it'll happen then, to be honest with you. So,
I missed it. Did the state pass the 3-day?
Okay, where we're standing there, the Senate passed their bill. Their bill excuses any district that falls below the 165. That's not us. Right now, we're at 165. So the Senate bill right now does nothing for us. The House bill passed, and that was excusing the 3 cold days in January. That does impact us, so we could take back the hours, the 6 hours that were lost for MNVA, and we could take back those 3 days of hours that were lost for on-site. That bill does help us, but right now, both bills had to go back to committee because they have to be the same language, and then they'd have to pass the same language again, and then it finally goes to the governor. Because right now, they're sitting in committee. And
So that may
right
not
now in my
happen
head,
till
I'm
the end
just
of the
singing
year.
that I'm just a Bill song from
I think it
Schoolhouse
sounded
Rock.
like he would pass it.
Oh,
He would
no.
sign it. He's already
Governor
said
Walz
that.
said he would sign it, so he's just, he is waiting, not too patiently, because he didn't
Right.
know why this couldn't be a
He's not
really
being patient
fast.
about anything.
you'd have thought it'd been quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not that
but it's right
profit
now,
for anybody.
in talking to the people that are kind of have the ear of the people at the State Department, they're thinking this might not get done until it's like in the whole omnibus bill. So we might not know until May 20th.
I've got a question. Is my understanding, and I could be wrong, is that Spring Grove had used up their days too? And they took today and tomorrow off because of the state tournament? How does that play into the equation? Or am I wrong that they had used up their days?
I am not sure. There were some days where we took off and they had in-service. So they might not be at their days, and I know they made up days already. They made up 2 days already.
Okay.
So
How did they do that?
Yeah.
Did they, days that they had off that they went
They
in?
canceled?
They canceled a day
they
off?
they worked on President's Day, so all the kids came to school, all the teachers came to school, they were supposed to have President's Day off, and then the day before,
We couldn't
they
do
were
that,
going to,
right?
no, we couldn't do that.
Right.
The Thursday before Easter, they're going to be going back
When
to
their
school.
teacher contract is possibly.
Yeah.
Their teacher contract allows for that.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're a little more flexible.
So they've made up days, so that's,
Okay.
because they don't do e-learning days, where, everyone else around us does e-learning days. And just in case somebody's asking, it looks like Rushford is counted, 7 e-learning days. They're not, they're just counting the 5 that are legal, but they said as long as they could do e-learning days, why not? But they're only counting 5. Okay, chamber meeting, I attended the chamber meeting as far as, representing the school. It is time for us to re-up our chamber, membership. It's only $25 for the school, so, it's good because as a chamber, the way we wanna do partnerships with businesses and getting our kids out and with work experiences and other types of work study, we need to keep our foot in the door there. And Jean was there too, but Jean was there representing the Lions. Oh,
Speaking
and
of,
Lily Carlson showed her, Yes,
Yes,
Houston
Houston.
Stories,
oh,
video, and it was very well done and very well received. She, did a very professional job with it. So
She's gonna be showing that at the Hark on April, I'm not sure, April 9th, I think, 7th or 9th, first part of April.
And it is online, so if it's, Yes Houston Stories, if you Google Yes Houston Stories, it's a Smithsonian website,
mhm.
and you can look at the video that she created.
And the economic development director was there, and she's kind of working as well with our what we're looking at for our last strategic plan in terms of community involvement with colleges and community businesses and stuff.
So that,
How about Ace, a television show?
yeah, they're still trying to work that out with the city. They were supposed to meet March 11th. I sent an email, haven't heard back. I'm going to just keep being a thorn.
Well, that's fine. Again, to me, you would think that would be just a turn on and move on, but especially being, we've been asking them for over a year.
This time,
Yeah.
first
That's
time we
what I mean,
asked
this
10
time.
years ago.
Yeah. This time it's been a year and then they come up with an excuse, what, a month ago? So, but there's no word as anything, right? Okay, any other updates, committees? Feedback, future agenda items?
I will be going to Dallas for the Destination Career Academy training at the beginning of next week. I'll be here Monday. We don't have school on Monday. It's end of the quarter. They finally got a couple of weeks of school in, so it's good that they should have a few grades. Then I will be coming back with hopefully a lot of information about Destination Career Academy.
Now, when can we put that, are they already started to market it?
They've
right?
started marketing it.
Do you have any interest showing on it, or?
It's this Friday, I will zip links so you can check out what's there as far as Destination Career Academy, and they're really pushing for Houston, for the MNVA for Destination Career Academy. So
Okay.
it'll be very good for us.
So, anything else?
Minnesota School Board Association Day at the Capitol is Monday. That's for the whole Minnesota.
And our region is scheduled for Tuesday, but I will be in Dallas, so I will not be able to attend. Kevin Cardell from La Crescent is the only superintendent in the area that can go up. Winona's soup is busy, and he's also retiring.
Yeah.
And for Caledonia and Spring Grove, they both felt that they couldn't get away from their districts to go.
Okay.
And those are usually the people that I go up there with.
Anything else? Nothing new?
And we're not going to do the workshop tonight, afterwards on the strategic plan, because we need a full board
minimum.
to talk about it.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Have a second?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you guys for coming. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a meeting.
So, on that channel though, we wouldn't incorporate